On the news for a very long time. Bullying in schools. You know, a lot of schools we have seen, the one we saw at the what's the name of the recently is the Briggs High School, lead British International School, Abuja, that went viral, and it drew the attention of the authorities and the shutting down of the school for a few days. Now, in the video, the victim was identified and was seen repeatedly hit by another female student. So bullying is surely not a new thing, and it comes in different forms, but it does not mean that it should be generally accepted, because it negatively impacts education and the students that are being bullied also. So bullying is something that has happened, and like I said, it comes in different forms. You can bully people with words, you can bully people with your actions, you can bully people in different ways. Bullying has a negative impact on the people and the society. Just after we were trying to talk about that, we saw again two students from a particular university. I think that was in Ilorin. She was with cane, like literally holding canes and repeatedly beating the person she was, even after the girl kept saying please, kept apologizing, kept pleading for her to go. And in her words, she said, if you're not going to let you bleed, I will do it by force. Like, she said that. And I saw that video, and it was a thing of concern, because we're talking about this bullying in different areas, different organizations, different people experience bullying, in different ways. And remember, we all joined our voices together in activism when we were talking about police brutality, police bullying people, But again, we forget that it is not only the authorities that has a responsibility of protecting the interest of other people, but us as individuals, we have a part to play as well. So if you are pointing fingers at the police officials saying you're bullying Nigerians, because you have a gun, some of you are trigger happy, you can just blow up somebody anytime, then you who is pointing fingers at someone should be able to ensure that they don't bully people also. They say those who live in glass house do not throw stones. But this is what we do most of the time, because someone is in a place of authority where we can see them and where we can criticize them. We criticize them, forgetting what our part is also to play in nation building. Now, when I saw all of these conversations, I went on to do a research to see whether in Nigeria we have any laws against bullying. But the constitution does not explicitly mention bullying, but it provides for the fundamental rights of citizens, including the rights of dignity and all of that. Now a conversation sprang up from there. Do you think the government should put policies in place against bullies? Because it happens time and again. And in this part of the country, even when we have something written down in the constitution, we still disobey the rules. But it is just a way to curtail these things and to ensure that people are able to have their fundamental human rights. People are able to talk freely, people are able to do what they need to do freely without being oppressed or without being bullied by anyone. Do you think it is time for the constitution? Because we hear that the amendment for the constitution is still in place. We know that a panel was being set up, which we discussed here on radio. We haven't gotten any updates as regards that panel set up to look into the constitution, because the time frame was from now till 2026 the constitution will be amended, and still talks in amending the constitution. Do you think a portion of the constitution should have rules strictly kicking against bullying in the country? It is rapidly spreading. Today it is one person from British High School. Tomorrow is somebody at the university in Ilorin. It can be you sometime, and it can be somebody else. What do we do to curtail the spread of bullying across the nation, across sectors and parastatals as well? This is one conversation that we'll be having here on the General Open Banters. Do you think the constitution should have a place that explicitly kicks against bullying and probably has, measures or punitive measures put in place for bullies? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about that. Now let's move to the well-being of our country. Again, as regards the business aspect, we see that Microsoft is set to shut down Lagos Center here in Nigeria, of course, and over 200 jobs at risk. This is the United States-based multinational technology giant Microsoft, and we all benefit from it. Has considered closing one of the operations in Nigeria, known as the African Development Center, located in Lagos. It is located in Ikoyi, a Highbrow area of Lagos, and the commercial headquarters of Nigeria's Africa's biggest economy. Now, without giving any reason whatsoever, Microsoft, it was learned that it revealed to its members of staff on Monday about the shutting down of operations in African Development Center that is in Lagos. It was learned that the affected employees will receive salary payments until June and continue to be covered by health insurance. This is what a report has said. Now, while the exact reasons behind the decision remains ambiguous because we don't know exactly what happened, sources suggest Nigerians' worsening economic conditions may have adversely affected the role in arriving at that decision. Now, according to the report, the closure appears to affect only the ADC's West African operations, which is in Nigeria, but not East Africa facility, which is in Kenya. So only Nigeria. So an unnamed source within the Microsoft office in Lagos neither confirmed nor refuted the closure when approached by journalists to get the exact information as to why the closure is happening. But this is just basically what we have as regards that report. As soon as we know the exact reason for that, we'll definitely share on radio. Now, we talked about the levy that is being put by the CBN, 0.5 levy for cybersecurity that the CBN introduced, and a lot of Nigerians spoke against it. Even right here on air, we had a lot of people kick against it. And then it baffles me when we say that, they don't listen, or we're just talking on radio, nobody's doing anything about it. Well, we see that CBN has directed banks to suspend the charges on deposits till September 30th. This is the charges now. I'm saying the Apex Bank disclosed this in a circular dated May 6th, which was, I think, a few days back, and signed by CBN's Director of Banking Supervision. On May 1st, bank resumed the collection of the processing fees on cash deposit based on the directive by the CBN to collect 0.5, as in 2%. Was to be charged on deposits over 500,000 for individuals, while corporate account holders were to be charged 3% on deposits, and all of that which we discussed there. But we see that there has been a directive to suspend charges on deposits till September 30. I don't know if this directly affects that cybersecurity bill, but the charges and everything that was being put out there says that the charges will be suspended until September. Now our fingers are crossed to see that this reduces somehow. Now, because a lot of Nigerians have complained also about the tax level here in the country, because it's tax from one thing to another. Even restaurants these days, their tax is something else. The tax they place on products that you buy and all of those things are quite enormous sometimes. And then conversations have sprung up, of course, because if businesses are stable enough, then they will be able to pay taxes. But if the businesses are not stable enough and you enforce taxes on them, then it puts a lot of pressure on the business, which either collapses the business or deters it from making profit. We also see that the tax expert Taiwo Oyedele, he says we need to increase tax rates, and it sparked up a lot of conversations and antagonism right here on the tax. He said the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, he says there's need to increase the value-added tax rate. This is what the report says. Now, the chairman of the committee spoke on Monday while disclosing the VAT revenue sharing formula will be reviewed. He also spoke at a policy exposure and impact assessment session organized by the committee. He says Nigeria's value-added tax rate is currently 7.5%. Now, the committee was proposing reviewing state and local government share of VAT revenue to 90% against the 7.5%. Now, according to Section 40 of the VAT Act, the federal government gets 15% of the tax revenue, states share 50%, and local governments share the balance of 35%. Now, the head of the committee said he's recommending reducing the federal government's share from 15% to 10%. We are proposing that the federal government's portion should be reduced from 15% to 10%. State's portion will be increased, but they would share 90% with local government. Let me know what your thoughts are about the conversations we've had here today on 090-7353-0044 or 090-8766-8888. You can send us a message, let us know what your thoughts are about the conversation on 090-9705-4450. Remember, the questions are: do you think a provision of the Constitution should have something explicitly stated about bullying? Do you think that is a good proposition?
Hello, good morning, Martha.
Hello, good morning to you, Salasi.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
My name is Salasi. I greet the listeners and callers of this great radio station.
Okay.
You first of all start the story of bullying. I think something needs to be done about that. We saw what happened in a British school in Nigerian school in Abuja, and we later saw that video again in Kwara. There are many other ones that are not even yet out. So I think something needs to be done about that bullying from our school, from our security party, and from so on and so forth. Something needs to be done. You can imagine. Do you remember what happened last week during the fuel scarcity? The person wanted to buy in Lagos, and the security men came, and people say, no, you can't just come and use power and bully us. And before you know, they shot one person there that wanted to buy fuel. If that man could be a family member, a breadwinner to his family, then come to the issue of American company that is living in Nigeria, this cyber company. That is what we are saying. There's no enable environment for business in this country. A lot of taxes. What is Bishop Lagos? Now we are talking of this government. When they come in, they say subsidy is gone. How we even, resuscitate from that one? They now come to electricity tariff. They talk of ban A, ban B, ban C. I always complain that I have 2 meters in my house. One is reading ban A, and one is reading ban B, and the other one is reading ban C. So you can imagine all this from our policy. We don't even have steady electricity. I always talk of Qatar. Qatar, they are not up to 3 million, but they have 40,000 megawatts. I remember one presidential candidate that traveled to Egypt to get to know about their power. People started yelling me, our government should go and learn. We need to understand that Tanzania have to shut down their power because of excess power. But look at us, we call ourselves a giant of Africa that can't even generate 8,000 megawatts. So something needs to be done about that. You could imagine how many companies are living. So there was a time you read on radio station that over 70-something companies are shutting down in this country. We are here with a lot of taxes. In fact, next time the oxygen that we are breathing, we have to be paying for all this. They are talking of cyber security. Look at the killing in Kaduna, Southern Kaduna. Look at the killing in Zamfara, Sokoto and Katsina. Look at the kidnapping, even in Abuja here. As I always say, today victims are yesterday's survivor. Tomorrow victims are today's survivor. It could be anyone out there listening to me. Until they need me in the aspect of insecurity, I'm telling you it will get to them. Thank you for giving me the privilege.
All right. Thank you, Salasi, for that contribution there. Let's hear you on 09073 530044 or 09097054450. Salasi says yes, a portion of the constitution should have rules against bullying because it happens in different sectors, and I do agree with that as well. Let me know what your thoughts are, if you are for or against that motion. Hello, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Martha. This is James from Surita.
Hi, James. It's good to have you join us.
Yeah, good to hear from you. Let me start with the issue of bullying. I think the Ministry of Education needs to do a whole lot in making sure schools put in place rules and measures to either curtail or punish these things when they come up. Because most of the persons involved are always underaged. So I don't know if any rules or punishment put into the Constitution may or may not apply to them.
Okay.
I think it falls on the schools themselves now to have measures in place. Okay, when this happens, what is it you do? When this happens, when this is reported, what are the measures you have put in place to either punish this or completely stop it from happening within the school environment? Now, on the issue of the whole cybersecurity levy, the one you mentioned earlier is completely different from the cybersecurity levy.
Yes.
Yeah, the deposit levy,
Money.
while levies have always been charged on deposits, like long, they've been charging that for years now. No one seems to have accounted for that. I asked the question here yesterday on air. Why has the government not accounted for the 3.8 trillion it generated from stamp duty? It was reported last year where there was a back and forth between, it was the CBN who was in charge. They said no, it was the NMPC. They said no, it was in one random account of, I don't know, whoever. Till this minute, no one has heard anything concerning that amount. Now, furthermore on this cybersecurity issue, why is the government more keen on generating, on the levy part of the cybersecurity bill? Now, that bill mentioned where the security agencies had a right to ask our telecom companies for access to call records, to messages and all that. Why is the government not trying to enforce this in combating insecurities? Why have we not seen the banks take advantage of this same bill where, let me read out some sections of the bill. I have some of them here.
Okay.
The Cybercrime Act 2015, Section 38, Sub 3. Any financial institution that makes an unauthorized debit on a customer's account shall, upon written notification by the customer, provide clear legal authorization for such debit to the customer or reverse such debit within 72 hours. Any financial institution that fails to reverse such debit within 72 hours shall be guilty of an offense and liable on conviction to restitution of about 5 million naira. Do we see banks react this way when customers come to complain about debits on their account? Have we heard anybody as such? But I was reading earlier this morning where Sharon John was saying money has been returned to her account. We all know she got that refund because she's a
She came to the internet.
she was called out.
Yeah.
How many persons have had their monies reversed? In fact, I have a current case where over 20-something thousand was debited for airtime that wasn't credited. This is over 3 weeks now. They are still going back and forth. Let me do this last one on Section 40 of the same Cybercrime Act. That it shall be duty of every service provider in Nigeria to comply with all the provisions of this Act and disclose information requested by any law enforcement agency or otherwise render assistance, however, in any inquiry or proceeding under this Act without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing.
All right, let's wrap that up.
Providers shall provide, identify, apprehend, and all that identification, tracking, and tracing of profits of any offense or property. Do we see the security agencies go after people who use calls to make kidnap demands and all? We do not see this, but they are focusing on the levy. Thank you.
All right, thank you for this, James. Now, thank you, James, for your contribution right there. He made sure he had the Constitution by his side to back up his conversation. Commendable one. But yes, we see some of these things happen, and this is why most Nigerians talked about that security levy. Now, some of the conversations that erupted online was also, you're putting a levy on banks, cyber levy. It's more like you're helping the bank protect its business whatsoever. This is what some people have talked about again. But you see, we're looking at the reversal of that business. Just yesterday, I saw a report where the Nigeria Chamber of Chairmans, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry talked about how the cybersecurity levy adds burdens on Nigerians and is unjustifiable. Let me get that report. It says that the directive by the Central Bank of Nigeria imposing the 0.5 cybersecurity levy on Nigerians will pose additional burdens on businesses and individuals, adding that the implementation of the levy is difficult to justify. The Director General of the LCCI also said in a statement made available to reporters, urged the government to reconsider the implementation of the directive and amend the enabling law, because if you read the full report, it just says it's a two-way street. If you're demanding for this, then you should be able to keep your own part of the bargain as well. But if we keep having these levies, and what we claim that these levies are for are not being used, it will let Nigerians, it will cause a lot of chaos online and, out of space and everywhere, because people will now be demanding answers and people will be demanding accurate data for what those monies are being used to do. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning. My name is GB.
GB, welcome and thanks for joining us on the show.
Yes, on this issue of levies, I want to know, because if you can see the public is just hearing it for the first time. Even those who I thought they were informed or part of this, but I just hearing that because this levy was not imposed by CBN. This levy is part of the act of this cyber security protection, whatever.
Okay.
And there were public hearings. It had a lot of process because it was passed into law and it passed by National Assembly and assented to by the President. During the public hearing, this clause that is causing this brouhaha, was it not detected? Was it not argued out? Because I'm asking myself, you look and see the just hearing now, because it's part of a legislation process that passed through a lot of things, the time and everything, amendments. It was read the first time, read the second time, second reading, public hearing, they come again, they debated in the assembly, they now pass it. No. That is giving me an inclination that there are many other laws that have been passed in this country that people are not even, our people, they just, I wouldn't know. There is a very implementation problem we now because, oh, why is this thing there? No, we will not accept it. That's the picture I'm getting now. That there are many laws that have been passed that when they did not raise eyebrow when it was being debated, you don't say anything wrong in it. Either not for political reason or whatever, we not say, oh, no, we can't accept it. Now, the question is protecting you and I from cyber security. Nobody can hack my account today without my consent. I'm still saying it. Because all my accounts have some level of security. One of them is OTP. One of them is my thing. OTP is that they will send a message either to my email or to my phone and say, look, this number, put it into something and click yes. Now, if somebody will tell this now, they asking from someone and say, look, we are your bank staff and we are your account service. Give us the number to your phone, give it to us. And he gave it to them. And he used millions of naira. Who do you blame? Is it the bank or the person? You blame the person, not the bank. Then somebody now say that, okay, instead of you losing everything 100%, let us pay this money from you so like an insurance that whatever you lose, you can still get some money as compensation. To me, I feel that is for protecting somebody. But if we don't say we don't want it, let that law be amended, let it be removed. Or if you think that say, okay, the time is not right for it, when can we introduce it? Because to me, I believe that this law is meant to protect some people who may be by mistake, by error, allow themselves to be, if they get information out there and they use it to defraud them. To me, is that government should do more publicity on it, enlighten citizens on it, and then suspend it for now until adequate time. But to me, I don't think it's a bad something. So that if you lose anything by cyber attack, you don't lose totally. Somebody can be given to you. But if you think that we don't want it, let them say we are not assembly, let them remove it. Let them remove it from there. That's my own take from it. But me, I'm so that those who should know are not claiming ignorance of this thing when they announce that it's a law. As you see them just wake up and say, come and give us your money. It was enacted. People have debated it. Public hearing was done. Where were these people then? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, GB, for that. But what I wouldn't want to be enforced here is to downplay people's experiences, because I did watch the video of Shan George, whose account was hacked and everything. And according to the person who was in that experience, or who had that experience, she didn't authorize any transaction whatsoever, and all of her money, about 3 point something million, was wiped away from her account. And a lot of Nigerians have gone through this process as well. I personally have experienced that as well, and I can tell you for a fact that I did not authorize any transaction that was being carried out in my account, and it took me weeks and sometimes months to be able to recover that money that was taken from that account. Now, the levy is there to protect us. That is the absolute fact. It is there to protect us. It is the charge on all electronic transactions, right? And it was introduced to fund the cybersecurity efforts of Nigeria. The cyberspace is quite a broad space, and we see all of the cyber crimes that go on in and outside of Nigeria. So this is an effort by the federal government to curtail that crime, to curtail the cyber crime, to curtail what happens on the internet space, and maybe, yes, these illegal debits that people have on the account. Very welcome development as well. But the conversation has been, it has caused a lot of confusion and dissatisfaction among the public, with many expressing concerns about the additional financial burden. Like GB said, is this the right time to implement the policy? This is one thing that has caused, the confusion and dissatisfaction Nigerians have expressed online. Number two, this is not the first time people are being debited from their accounts, for a certain purpose. Do we see the monies being channeled for that purpose or for those purposes as well? So it's not that the policy or the act is bad in itself. It is there to protect. But are we guaranteed that now that this policy is enacted, will it be done? And does it guarantee that Nigerians are protected? in the cyberspace. Hello, good morning to you.
What morning? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, I heard that the policy has been suspended till September.
No, that's a different. Sorry, I'm sorry. I probably must have miscommunicated that. That's a different one. The one that was suspended to September was the interbank transfer charges that we talked about, early in the year.
Okay, this one is about
yes, yes. Those.
Well, CBN was set up by Act, and the CBN is to regulate and monitor our money.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see reason why the charge should be paid by the people, because almost all of them that go to work on a daily basis that work in CBN, they're going there to do work, and everything concerning our money should be safe. Because I heard of the 0.5% on cybercrime fuel. It must be taxed, be charged on everything. And sometimes, a time like this, you need to find time to bring in an expert who is impossible like a CBN staff to come and educate Nigerians the more, so that we'll be more enlightened and more understanding. Because talk about cybercrime. Even if they charge the money, is there any assurance that at the end of the day, such thing will not happen? Today now, bank is the one regulating and monitoring our money. Somebody uses ATM to withdraw your money, and when you go to bank, they won't be able to do anything. They won't be able to do anything. That's why there is a CCTV camera all over the bank, but they cannot be able to help you. At the end of the day, this is how it will go. And sometimes banks charge unnecessary tax on our money. And when you go, they will tell you they will rectify it. And that's how it is. So I wish sure that with this policy and the money involved, that such thing will not happen. Because if eventually happens, when you go, they will still post you, tell you we are investigating, we are looking into it and stuff like that. So for me, government is looking on all ramifications, how to be getting money from us in all means, in the name of tax and tax. They will come out one big grammar. Before you could finish tracing the meaning in the dictionary, they are already done what they're doing.
Before they finish
like
checking
what I
the meaning.
suggested yesterday and the day before yesterday, I said, look, there's a lot of mineral resources in this country where federal government will make billions and millions of naira. That is in the hands of individuals. They are in the hands of state actors. You talk about mineral resources in the north. You talk about gold, talk about other mineral resources like California and the rest of that. Those are mining it and making billions of naira. I expect that the federal government should put embargo on those illegal and legal mining. Revoke all the license. And make it their own. Make sure they monitor and know how much that comes in.
All right.
I think from there they will generate a lot of money. Instead of taxing Nigerians on with different type of grammar, trying to make life so difficult for us. Somebody that doesn't have that doesn't even understand the happening in the country will only defend the policy, telling us that the policy is better for us. And that's the same thing he did in the last administration. When we're talking like this administration is borrowing, and they will Nigeria will enter into deep debt. He said nothing wrong with it, nothing wrong with borrowing. That later on we enjoy it. Now anything that comes out of this government, even if it's favorable and it's even not favorable, you will always support it.
All right.
And from my finding,
Thank you, Sonny the Prince. We'll have to go now so that we can have more people contribute. We'll have to cut that down there. It's been 4 minutes. Hello, good morning. All right, let's keep it coming through. The conversation still continues on 09073 530044 or 09087668888. You can also leave us a message on WhatsApp letting us know